wasn't open. I used it anyway. We'll see what happens. So I literally don't know what to do with myself. I am home alone with my baby for the first time in I don't even know how long it's been since I've been the only one in the house. So it's me, baby, and 3 dogs. And it's probably only gonna be for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Right now, I've got little baby here. Oliver's in his little scoot, we call it. You like your scoot? Yeah. So I am just working on this mess and I'm putting the dishes in the dishwasher away because those are clean. I'm gonna get to finishing these dishes. I have to take the dogs out. I got a list of stuff that I want to get done while I'm home alone. So, recipe test number 1. I just put 3 chicken breasts into a mixture of 1 pint, half and half that was pretty much expired. It wasn't open. I used it anyway. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't get sick. And I added 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar. I'm pretty sure that will make some kind of a buttermilk-like texture, consistency. Hey, Finn, no, hey. I'm hoping that the buttermilk-like concoction will help to kind of break down that chicken breast a little bit, making it a little bit tender and retain some juices. That's my hope. That's my goal. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna be nasty, but we'll see. I am going to be making a chicken gnocchi soup, kind of like a Olive Garden copycat soup. So I'm hoping that that chicken will turn out really nice and tender. So I still have a few more things to research on the preparation of the chicken because one recipe I found said just dice it and cook it in a pan and then add it to the soup, which I'm kind of thinking that's not gonna make it very tender. You know, Olive Garden's chicken just falls apart and it's so good. I'm trying to replicate that. So we'll see how this turns out. Might be garbage, but it might be good. Hi, Bunny. Hi, Bunny. Come here, Bunny. Oh, there he goes. Oh, crap. Just coming up to the garage to get in the freezer and look for my gnocchi. Did you guys know that you can freeze butter? This was on sale for $2.50, so you better believe we stocked up because it's normally over $5. But no gnocchi. Where is it? I'm starting off this recipe with 1 pint of half and half that I added 2 tablespoons of white vinegar to, and that's what I put my chicken in to soak for a little bit. This Better Than Bouillon no chicken base is vegetarian and it makes amazing chicken broth or chicken stock without chicken. You could use anything that you want. I did use too much. I would recommend doing about 2 teaspoons to 2 cups of water for this recipe. When I was testing, I actually only used 1.5 cups, but I would highly recommend upping that to 2 cups and then reducing the amount of whipping cream that you add in later. I am taking the chicken out of that mixture and I am putting it into my Instant Pot. I have 3 large chicken breasts here. I also dumped in that 2 cups of chicken broth. I am cooking these chicken breasts in the Instant Pot with the chicken broth and about 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. And I also added some freshly ground pepper. I did not use any salt because there was already a lot of salt in that Better Than Bouillon. Put the lid on the Instant Pot, make sure the valve is set to sealing and manual cook for 8 minutes. You're going to naturally release for 10 minutes. While the Instant Pot is cooking the chicken, I took the time to dice up some celery, carrots, and a shallot. You can definitely use an onion, but I had a lot of shallots on hand that I wanted to use, so I decided to chop one of those up. This is known as a mirepoix, or the holy trinity of French cooking. All these aromatics are just perfect for soup bases, and they cook down and get nice and tender, and they are so delicious. They add a lot of flavor to any dish. To a large Dutch oven, I am adding about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 giant stick of butter. That's right, 1 whole stick. This is not a healthy recipe by any means, but it is delicious. I'm going to take my mirepoix and add that to my Dutch oven as soon as that oil heats up and that butter starts to melt. You're going to saute this until those vegetables get nice and tender and those shallots start to turn slightly translucent. I do want to caramelize those onions just a little bit, so I'm going to let them sit on the bottom of this heat for just a few moments. I am cooking this on about medium heat, but depending on your stovetop, you may need to adjust as necessary. After the veggies have sauteed for a little bit, you're going to want to add some chopped garlic. I am cheating. I am using this Costco size pre-minced garlic. You can do fresh if you'd like, but this is just so easy, especially for soups. It really works well. So I'm just doing a small forkful into this mixture, and I'm just gonna let that cook for about another minute. While that garlic is mingling with the other veggies, I'm going to de-stem some spinach, and I'm going to add it to the mixture in a little bit. This is not necessary. You do not have to de-stem. I just like to take those parts off. I'm going to season my veggies that are cooking with a little bit of thyme. I didn't really measure, but I'm gonna guess it was about a half tablespoon. At this point, I am going to add in some freshly ground black pepper, and again, I'm not adding any salt because I added so much of that bouillon base, and if you don't use as much as I did, can just season to taste. After the chicken has naturally released for about 10 minutes, I'm just taking a couple of forks and shredding the chicken. Alternatively, you could also throw this into your stand mixer with the paddle attachment, and that does a great job at shredding chicken as well, but this was easier because my stand mixer is actually put away right now, so it was just simple to pull out the forks and get to shredding. From this point on, your soup is going to come together very quickly. I'm just adding that shredded chicken to my vegetable mixture. I'm going to stir that up a little bit. I am also going to add the chicken stock and butter that came out of the Instant Pot back into my soup. I'm just going to reuse this liquid. It's perfectly good, and there's no point in wasting it and putting in fresh stock. So I'm adding that back into the pot, and I'm going to let that all simmer for just a few moments before I add my whipping cream, cornstarch slurry, and my gnocchi. I'm using 1 whole pint of whipping cream, and I'm going to heat that up in the microwave for about 20 to 30 seconds before adding it to my soup. I did finally find my potato gnocchi in my cupboard. So into the soup it goes. I am trying to be careful not to splash that hot soup out of the Dutch oven. And I'm just going to stir that up a bit so it gets nice and happy. To make the cornstarch slurry, I'm starting with about a tablespoon of cornstarch and a ladleful of my soup, and I'm going to mix that together with a fork and put it back into my soup. This is going to help thicken it and make it really nice and creamy. After the gnocchi has heated through and the soup has thickened, I'm going to add my spinach, and this is the last step. You want to cook this down until it gets slightly wilted, and then it's ready to serve. This copycat chicken and gnocchi soup turned out so good, and I highly recommend you give it a try. If you do, please make sure you tag me so that I can see how yours turned out. You can find me on social media at MeliTenni. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!